10 incredible stunning towns in Germany, no tourist trap. By Diana and Phil YouTube channel.
Germany is more
Look
popular
at
than
this.
ever to visit right now. And when people think about traveling here, they usually picture big cities like Berlin or Munich or maybe Cologne. And while those places are amazing, they can also be crowded, expensive, and honestly a little exhausting. So in this video, we are doing something a little different. Instead of big cities, we are sharing 10 beautiful German towns that are easy, relaxed, and just feel good to visit. Places with charm, history, and a much slower pace.
Wow.
And if you don't know us, we are Diana and Phil. Diana's from the United States and I'm from Germany, and for the last couple of years we're living in Germany. Now, this is not gonna be a complete list. Germany has thousands of picturesque towns and villages, as it is actually quite a large country by population and the most populated one in the European Union.
All of the places on this list we have personally visited, really enjoyed, and would happily go back anytime. Some are fairly well known within Germany, others are still a bit under the radar internationally. But all of them have one thing in common: a relaxed atmosphere, beautiful surroundings, and that classic small town German charm that makes them absolutely worth visiting. So let's start in the north and work our way south.
Number 1, Lübeck.
Lübeck.
First up is Lübeck in northern Germany. This town was once one of the most powerful trading cities in Europe. And when you walk through it today...
We just reacted for a Swedish channel to Gustav Vasa.
Yeah.
The first true king of Sweden, and there was a lot of things going on with Sweden and Lübeck, like in the 1500s, 1400s. Yeah.
You can still
Very
feel
important
that
city.
history everywhere. The entire historic center actually sits on an island surrounded by rivers and canals, and it is packed with beautiful medieval buildings made from dark red brick. This style is called brick Gothic, and it's something
Brick
you don't
Gothic.
see very often outside of Northern Europe.
I like this. Look at the building. It looked like a triangle shaped like a brick, like
Walking
a Lego
through
brick.
Lübeck almost feels like stepping back into the time of the old Hanseatic trade empire.
Yes, and it's also known for its marzipan cake and marzipan coffee as well. Just marzipan in general. Both are absolutely delicious and might reduce your stress level even more.
That's actually the Lübeck guarantee. Number 2, Blankenese.
Blankenese.
Next is Blankenese, which technically belongs to Hamburg, but it feels nothing like a big city. This place looks more like a little coastal village. The neighborhood is built on a hillside along the Elbe River, with hundreds of narrow stairways connecting small houses, gardens, and viewpoints. From the top, you can watch huge container ships slowly pass by on the river. It's a really unique mix of village charm and massive global shipping happening right in front of you.
Yeah, this makes it really feel like northern Germany, and it's a great quick escape from the hustle and bustle of Hamburg. And you can easily combine visiting both places when you're in that area.
Black House.
Yeah, definitely.
Number 3, Görlitz.
Görlitz.
Okay, we are jumping over to the far east. If there's one town on this list that almost nobody outside of Germany knows about, it is Görlitz. But it might actually be one of the most beautiful historic towns in the entire country. Görlitz has thousands of preserved buildings from different time periods, which gives this city an incredible architectural variety. Because of that, Hollywood filmmakers love it. Movies like the Grand Budapest Hotel were filmed here. And the best part, compared to many famous towns, Görlitz is still incredibly quiet and relaxed. For me as a German, I couldn't believe how beautiful this town was.
Yeah, we went here last year on our summer road trip crossing Germany from west to east. Check out that video series if you're interested. And fun fact, you can from west to east. Check out that video.
What is the orange thing? Oh, it's sausage. There's so much sauce, I didn't see that it was sausage. It's a weird dish.
Video series if you're interested. And fun fact, you can walk over this bridge and bam, you're in Poland. That's a typical European border for you.
This is a typical European border.
Yeah.
It looks insane.
You're in
This border looks insane. It looks so pretty.
Poland. That's a typical European border for you.
Wow.
We would go back there in a heartbeat.
Yeah, it was awesome. Number 4, Marburg.
And they cross just like that.
Marburg might be one of the most dramatic looking towns in Germany. The entire town is built on a steep hill with narrow medieval streets climbing up towards the castle that towers above everything. We had some beautiful and delicious cake at one of the terraces here, and then made our way up to the castle. As you walk up the hill, you pass colorful houses, tiny alleyways, and incredible viewpoints over the rooftops. It almost feels like a fantasy setting, like a medieval town stacked on top of itself. It is a student town, which gives it a lively, modern, and young vibe as well, in between the medieval architecture.
Yeah, quite unique. But it is kind of beneficial to be a good walker here, as the streets and stairs are steep, but we were both blown away by Marburg and would love to go back for that calm medieval feeling again.
Yeah, definitely.
Number 5, Duderstadt.
Duderstadt.
Okay, I had to put my hometown on the list, but it's kind of special, even though as a kid you didn't really notice that. But if you're looking for that classic fairy tale Germany look, Duderstadt is hard to beat. Deanna said it kind of looks like Disney World when she visited for the first time.
Yes, it really does. The town has hundreds of traditional half-timbered houses, many of them slightly crooked and leaning after hundreds of years. Walking through the old streets feels like wandering through a storybook, truly. A big
the whole center of Germany, I think, go through a river, and all the houses look like this. It's so pretty.
Catholic and Protestant
Yeah, it's so...
church on either side, competing against each other in the center of a medieval defense wall. That is...
So all of this was built during the medieval time, I think? Like during the time that like there was famine and the Black Plague and things like this, and people were dying, they were still able to build... I mean, I'm sure under very bad condition, people were slaves, but they were able to build beautiful, like...
partially still preserved today. The town is about 1,100 years old, and many buildings were built before the United States was even a thought.
And unlike some of Germany's more
Around the year 1000, it was built, or 900, 1000.
famous historic
Yeah, at the beginning of the Middle Age, or even a little bit before that.
towns, Duderstadt still flies under the radar for international tourists. It gets some domestic tourists, but it's never too busy or stressful. It is also located pretty much in the center of Germany, so it could be a potential stop when traveling through the country. It is quiet, relaxed, and incredibly charming, I would say.
Not biased at all.
Number 6, Weimar.
Weimar.
Weimar is small, tidy, and full of cultural history. This town played a huge role in German literature, music, architecture, and philosophy. Famous writers like Goethe and Schiller lived and worked here, and their influence is still everywhere in the city. At the same time, Weimar feels surprisingly calm and walkable, with beautiful squares, classical buildings, and leafy parks.
It is often called one of Germany's cultural capitals, and for some reason you can feel it. It is just peaceful and easygoing, but smart and educated at the same time. And
I was gonna say, a lot of these
just
cities,
peaceful and easygoing, but smart.
there's not really car, at least in the center of the town. People walking, pulling bicycle or the carriage like this, but like you don't get annoyed with pollution. It looks so clean in the sky and everything.
And educated at the same time. And don't forget to grab a Thüringer Rostbratwurst, probably the world's best bratwurst.
It's my favorite first, I think.
Number 7, Goslar.
Goslar.
Next is Goslar, located right on the edge of the Harz Mountains, one of the most historic and underrated regions of Germany. Goslar itself is more than 1,000 years old and has one of the country's best preserved old towns, filled with beautiful half-timbered houses, narrow streets, and cobblestone squares. The town became wealthy thanks to silver mining in the nearby mountains, and you can still see that prosperity in the impressive historic buildings around the market square. Before Christmas, our favorite Christmas market is here in Goslar. With the medieval backdrop, it is just pure magic, and the food here is always amazing. If you don't like crowds, this is a much better experience than going to the famous Christmas markets in Nuremberg or like Cologne.
But Goslar is also a great getaway to explore the wider Harz region. Goslar
That
is
image is crazy, and it's during kind of the winter.
Wow. Wait,
Also-
that's snow? Oh.
Yeah, it's snow. I'm not sure if it's winter, but this is crazy. You go down like this and that's what you see.
a great getaway to explore the wider Harz region, which is this national park in the center of Germany, full of forests, mountains, and charming historic towns. One of the most famous is
Quedlinburg.
we actually haven't visited yet ourselves, but it's often recommended as one of the most beautiful medieval towns in all of Germany, with hundreds of historic half-timbered houses. So if you're planning a trip to the Harz, Goslar, or Quedlinburg, are some fantastic places to start.
Number 8. Heidelberg.
Next up is Heidelberg. It is definitely more famous than most towns on this list, but there's a very good reason for that. The city sits along the Neckar River, with the massive ruins of Heidelberg Castle towering above the old town from the hillside. And down below, the historic center is full of narrow streets, colorful buildings, cozy cafes, and small shops, which makes it a really enjoyable place to just wander around for a few hours. When we visited, we actually tried some of Germany's weirdest food, like filled pig stomach meat dish, which was a fun and slightly questionable experience. All of it manageable with a glass of wine.
From the old town, you can take a short trip up to the castle, and the views from there are incredible. There's a beautiful terrace overlooking the rooftops of Heidelberg, with the river winding through the valley below. And inside the castle complex, you'll also find one of the strangest highlights: the famous Heidelberg Tun, which is one of the largest wine barrels ever built. Between the scenery, the history, and the relaxed atmosphere, it's easy to see why Heidelberg is often considered one of the most romantic towns in Germany.
Before we continue to the final two places, along with some honorable mentions, we ask you to please like the video and subscribe for more videos around the world.
Number 9. Schiltach.
Never heard of this one.
Deep in the Black Forest, you'll find the tiny town of Schiltach. This place almost looks unreal. The town square is surrounded by incredibly crooked, half-timbered houses that lean at all kinds of angles, giving it a...
Wait, I've never seen this, because I've seen those Timblestone houses, but the bottom look very different. Like it's a business or something. And then there's people living on top. The structure look very different from the other town.
Incredibly crooked, half-timbered houses that lean at all kinds of angles, giving it a really unique character. There's a shallow river flowing through and green rolling hills in the background, which just adds tranquility. We had some famous cakes from the Black Forest region right here on said river. It's the type of town where your hotel owner is also the receptionist and the chef of the hotel to restaurant, and the guy who gives you a master key to the house if you plan on coming back after 10 p.m.
True story, that happened. Schiltach is small, quiet, and incredibly picturesque. The kind of place where you can just slow down and enjoy the atmosphere. Waking up to this small town view was absolutely perfect, and it is one of the prettiest hidden corners of the Black Forest.
Number 10. Füssen.
And finally, we end in the Bavarian Alps with Füssen. This small town sits right at the foothills of the mountains and is surrounded by lakes, forests, and some of the most dramatic scenery in Germany.
Okay, this is
the river Lech
crazy.
is coming down from the mountains and is so clear and sometimes green looking, it almost looks unreal. The pace here in the
So it does look green.
Yeah.
It's not editing. It's really that color.
The very south is slower and more relaxed. No big city around. It is also the gateway to the famous Neuschwanstein Castle, which is super touristy and gets crowded. But Füssen itself is worth visiting for its colorful old town and incredible alpine views.
Yes, it's the perfect place to end a relaxing trip through Germany, but it's also a great base for outdoor activities. Our nephew loved the outdoor skate park. We went hiking and saw many paragliders gliding down the valley. Man, the Alps are probably my top favorite area in all of Germany.
Oh, bonus.
Of course, Germany has thousands of beautiful towns.
I feel like in Hamburg, though, they don't have this. In Berlin, they don't have this. I feel like some of the big cities, like Düsseldorf, they don't have this. I feel like some of the big cities, they don't have those kind of houses. It's more like smaller a little bit, right? Or Munich. Do they have this in Munich?
Some places we visited, like the spa town of Baden-Baden, that we'd like to mention. And there are also a few places we haven't personally filmed, but constantly hear great things about, or that Phil has been to in the past.
Yeah, for example, Lindau, located on Lake Constance. Germany actually has a region where you can stand by a huge lake, see the Alps across the water, and be just minutes away from both Austria and Switzerland. And the one town on the lake I would recommend the most is Lindau.
Another place we've heard a lot about is Tübingen, a charming university town known for its canals, colorful houses, and relaxed student atmosphere.
And that's a university. You could have studied there.
Ooh.
It's crazy.
Neither of us have been, but it's on our list of places to visit.
Yeah. Then there's Bamberg, which many people consider one of the most beautiful medieval towns in Germany, famous for its historic old town and unique smoked beer.
Ooh.
It is a famous student town as well, and we shall really go there at some point. And if you're looking for dramatic mountain scenery, both Garmisch-Partenkirchen and Berchtesgaden are often recommended for their incredible alpine landscapes. To be honest,
this is the area that you like the 10th place. This is that area, like southeast Germany. It's not that far from
entire
Munich.
south below Munich towards the Alps is amazing, and in my opinion, Germany's most picturesque area. I have been to Garmisch and like it even a little better than Füssen. I have not been to Berchtesgaden though, but it is and should be a bucket list stop in Germany. And finally, there's Rothenburg ob der Tauber, probably one of the most famous fairy tale towns in Germany.
We saw this
Every
on Google
influencer has posted this picture.
Really small, and he live in the small house, thing like that. He can fight, and he's really cute. I don't remember the name. Whatever. I even remember the face of that story, but I don't remember the name.
Oh, okay.
Is it?
And you have probably seen it. And this almost makes us not want to go there, but yeah, maybe someday.
So if you're planning a trip and you're sick of crowds, over-tourisms, tourist traps, and tourist prices, these are...
But they're all an interesting place. If we ever can afford Germany, we can go through that river and go up north instead of going to the big city. I think this would be more fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, so thank you for watching, everyone. Amazing video. Please suggest us more video from Germany, yes.